baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
It's October 9th. It's my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. It's John Lennon's birthday. Happy birthday, John Lennon. No, not you. Not you, Dallas. It is just mere hours before the final time that we will see a day with more than 2 games on the slate for Major League Baseball in our Lord's year of 2024. We are getting, of course, Game 3 of the ALDS, Guards Tigers. We are getting Game 4, Phillies Mets at 5 o'clock. We are getting Game 3 between the Yankees and Royals at 7 o'clock. And then the main event at 9 p.m. Eastern, the Dodgers and Padres, Game 4. A chance for the Padres to move on in San Diego. We will see. We will see what happens in all of these series. We will have forward progress today. Today is what? Tuesday? Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. Check. Wednesday. All right, let's start with the drama. I mean, it's the main event for a reason. Sure, they're on the West Coast and it's convenient time-wise, but for the division series, the Padres and Dodgers has been the main event of the postseason. And I will say this, on a card where the undercard has been pretty fucking awesome too. There's been some pretty awesome fights in the undercard, but the main event is 2 heavyweights just throwing absolute haymakers at each other.
Does it feel, I'm sorry, but is this energy going to be matched in the next stage or even in the World Series?
I think maybe Yankees, Dodgers because of the history, maybe. But like in terms of like recency, no, like as far as star power, as far as vitriol towards each other at the moment, just all of it. I think this right now is maybe the most enigmatic series that we'll get for the rest of the postseason. I mean, there'll be some excitement. There'll be some storylines that we can talk about, through the later stages. But I think right now, this is the main event for the whole postseason. Yeah, I think you're right, Dallas. I think you might be right.
Jay, you say different.
Boo! What a pessimistic outlook, man.
I think it's realistic. It's
realistic. Exactly. Yeah. Talk to me, Soup Ladle. Talk to me.
Yeah.
Yo, I'll fucking ladle this soup all over you, dude.
Yeah. Give us the take.
I don't think. I mean, is that possible? Sure, of course. But I think any of these potential NLCS matchups in particular are outstanding. And I would be extremely excited for, why wouldn't Mets, let's just go with the 2 teams that are ahead. Why wouldn't you be exceptionally excited for Mets Padres? I know it's not a regional rivalry, but it is 2 teams that have arguably been the 2 or 3 hottest teams in baseball over the last couple of months. 2 teams with these perfect narrative arcs that are colliding against each other. That to me would be an awesome NLCS at this point.
No, it would be awesome, but it's not going to top Dodgers Padres. Like the animosity, the animosity, the level of superstardom between Dodgers Padres will not be matched. The level of hatred will not be matched, and
that's it right there.
I think the ballpark energy can be matched. I think the ballpark energy can be surpassed. Actually,
for sure.
I think ballpark energy can be met or surpassed, and I think objectively quality of game, not quality of game, but the drama of the actual score in the games can be surpassed. This, I'm not complaining about this series even one iota, but one of them was a complete blowout, and the other 2 were definitely really good postseason games. So that to me is not a standard that Mets Padres or something couldn't meet. And then I think on paper, and the AL is the ALCS the sexiest possible combination, particularly if it doesn't feature the Yankees? No, but I do think it sets up some pretty interesting potential World Series matchups. I'm selling Dallas's take that this is the best that it's going to get. I have high hopes for the rest of the postseason too.
No, and I can appreciate you wanting to meander down the line and see if there's a better product out there, but there's not. You just passed on the best product you were going to get. as far as takes are concerned. And it is simply because the reason you watch a heavyweight fight, since we're talking about undercards and main cards, the reason that you watch one of those big heavyweight bouts, and especially MMA fans, is for a lot of the billing that's occurred, right? Why do people, let's put it this way, Jayhay, why do people watch Jake Paul box?
See him get
knocked out.
Why?
It's not exactly. It's not because they want to watch him knock anybody out. That would be cool to see, but they want to watch him get knocked out. And that's what everybody wants to watch in this series right here. They want to see Shohei Ohtani get knocked out. They want to see the 3-headed MVP monster lineup get knocked out. They don't give a damn that they're wounded on the mound. They don't care about that. They would love for you to wheel Kershaw out there so he could get his ass kicked and they could tell you, see, I told you. That they would love for that to happen. And that hate, that animosity is purely why this series will pack, I'm saying, the most energy. I'll give you this much, a very different type of energy, because the series that you're talking about and the things that you're talking about, I don't think can be argued with. I think they just come packaged very differently. And it's going to be once we're done with this series, we're all going to be laying in bed, right? We're just going to be kicking back, ripping cigs. And then you're going to, oh my God, what? Round 2? Absolutely round 2. Let's go. What do you got for me? You got the polar bear. You got everything that you just outlined, Jayhay. So that's it's just going to be packaged differently. It's going to taste a little different, but round 2, buddy, is just as good as, if not better than round 1 and sometimes.
Yeah. I just enjoy the injection of personal animosity, because and I'm not just saying specifically in Dodgers Padres. It's, like we don't get that in the regular season anymore, really, ever. It's just everyone's buddy. There's a ton of overturn throughout the league. You don't really have stars staying in the same place long enough in divisions and teams contending consistently enough. Like the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry is dead because the Red Sox fucking suck all the time. It's like, how are you supposed to be hating each other, building up a rivalry when the Red Sox fucking finish in last place all the time? But Dodgers-Padres, they've been pretty much either good or great for 6 seasons now, 5 seasons, and they've met in the postseason already. So you have that history built in as well. And now you've got some personal disliking going on where you've got Jack Flaherty versus Manny Machado. You've got Ken Rosenthal versus
the Padres.
Yeah, the whole Padres roster. You've got Dave Roberts, former manager of Manny Machado, against Manny Machado.
I mean,
so it's a shame that we're not going to get a best of 7 out of this matchup, but I'll take what I can get, and I'm going to head on over to the Underdog Fantasy app, where I've already placed my picks for the slate today. Already put my picks out there, so if you haven't gone on Twitter or Instagram, you're missing out, because October is when baseball legends are made. Begin your road to greatness on Underdog, where you can make picks on all your favorite players' stats. All you have to do is choose higher or lower on things like strikeouts, total bases, and home runs. You can win up to 1,000 times your money playing their Pick'em game. Sign up for Underdog using the promo code Jared. That's Jared. What do you get with that? A free pick as part of your first cash entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Again, that is promo code Jared, Jared. Cash in on every home run during the playoffs with Underdog. Yeah, so last night we were talking haymakers, right? Haymakers were thrown. First and foremost, they were thrown before the game. Dave Roberts throwing around terms like, what was it, unacceptable? Did he say Manny Machado was dangerous? I don't want to misquote Dave Roberts, but he made it sound like his life was in danger. The way that Manny Machado kind of, I don't want to say lob the ball into the dugout, but maybe whatever the speed above lob is, that's what Machado did. He threw with haste a baseball into the dugout.
But if you ask Manny, it was nowhere near as hard as the ball that was pitched.
Right, I could have fielded that. My daughter rolled me harder balls this morning on the ground.
Yeah, it was in the video. It's like, all right, here's my take on Machado-Gate, right? as someone who's been to a lot of baseball games, someone who has seen a lot of infielders throw baseballs into dugouts after, during, in between innings. Did Manny Machado throw the ball harder than I'm accustomed to seeing big league baseball players throw baseballs into or towards dugouts? Yes. I feel like they usually throw some arc on it. They usually lob it. They try to one bounce it into the dugout, or if there's a bench coach on the top step of the dugout, they try to one hop it into their hand or something like that. This one was more chucked over there, but to suggest that anyone was in danger, I don't think it was like Manny Machado's got a cannon. Like let's put one thing first.
That's you fired it over there.
I thought it was overhand. Was it not overhand?
No, it was not overhand. It was a firing of the baseball underhand.
Okay.
Like
all
that's
right.
why
so
that
even
term
better.
is used.
Even better. Yeah, it was a little faster than I'm accustomed to seeing players throw balls into dugouts, but I don't think that anyone was in any imminent danger had they been in the way of this projectile. I think it was a little bit overblown. I think it was more of the idea of disrespect was on the table for sure. I think the gesture of it, more than the reality of the danger, it was the gesture of disrespect that was more, I guess, frustrating or irritating. It would have been the idea that you did that with no regard for anyone's safety.
So that's where there's a lot of things that come into play. There's a lot of nuance here to this. And that's why I talked about the etiquette of doing this and how this goes down. All right. If you're throwing a ball, if you're a position player and you're throwing a ball into the dugout specifically, like into the dugout, not over near the dugout, but into the dugout, you're doing it under certain circumstances, right? It's a ball that you've given the universal signal to everybody that needs to know what's going on. You've taken the ball and you've done this, right? You've shaken the ball. Hold on. I dropped it. But you just shake the ball. What does that mean? This one's done. We're getting rid of it, right? It's out. And you then, like you said, Jared, you make eye contact with either a coach, maybe you have a friend in the dugout, whatever it is, and that's who you throw the ball to.
An authenticator.
One bounce it to, that's who you roll it to, whatever, okay? If you're throwing the ball back to the ball boy or the bat boy or the ball girl or the bat girl who might be positioned at the other end of the dugout or maybe even just outside in the on-deck circle area, well, it would take a little more to get the ball over there, right? But it's still understood, and it happens all the time. These get one-hopped or long-hopped or just softly rolled to these folks so that they can gather the ball. Now, if this ball from Manny Machado isn't being thrown into the dugout directly, and he hasn't made contact with anybody in the dugout for them to know it's coming, which is a point that you need to remember if they don't know it's coming, and he hasn't thrown it over towards the ball area or the ball boy area, the on-deck circle area, then where is this going? It's likely going directly to the netted area, right? The facade of the dugout, right at the facade of the dugout. Well, what is right at the bottom of the facade of the dugout is the concrete slab that these things are mounted in, okay? And those have lips. The dugout has a lip. And if you watch the video, the ball, as it's thrown in, bounces and hits the lip of the dugout, the cement bottom,
kicks
and
up,
then bounces back out. And that's where the ball boy runs out of the dugout and has to come and get it. So my thought, even without these camera angles, is that ball was being thrown directly at the facade of the dugout to get somebody's attention. Not to hurt anybody, because it's the facade of the dugout. It's not going to go through. And he's not throwing it like Manny Machado is more than capable of. He's not overhanding this thing. He throw it through the fucking netting, right? Dude has an absolute hose. But he did it to do what? To get somebody's attention, right? And it worked, did it not? Because you saw the other bench coach pop his head up. You saw Teoscar Hernandez take issue with it immediately. And then once Dave Roberts became aware of what happened, he joins in on what's going on. But remember, Dave Roberts didn't see it. And so why would Manny Machado be throwing that ball directly over there, not into the dugout and not at the on-deck circle? He's doing it for what? to get somebody's attention. And it worked, which takes us to this. Is it okay that you might absolutely fucking hate Manny Machado because he's not on your team and you think he's a dick? Yes, it's okay. Does Manny Machado have a track record? Does he have a history of having beef with players and doing stuff just like this? Yes, he does. Is Manny Machado probably a guy that you would love to have on your team and a guy that you could rally around, or a guy that could rally you around a greater cause? Yes. All of these things can be true at the same time. Manny Machado can be a great player because he is Hall of Famer. Manny Machado could also be the guy that you absolutely hate to play against. He could be a dude who ruffles feathers intentionally. He could be a guy that you absolutely cannot stand and think that he's a dirty player. He can be all of these things. All of these things can be true about him all at the same time. But the baseball IQ and the productivity is something that you just simply cannot argue. That is something that is completely different from who he is as a player or who you might think he is as a person, right? Because what we saw Manny Machado do in that game was the difference in this game. And it had nothing to do with his bat. It had nothing to do with his glove. It had everything to do with his baseball IQ. So I think when you start to look at Manny Machado in totality and who he is, he's enigmatic. There's people who love him and there's people who love to hate him. But I think you have to be able to compartmentalize a couple of things when it comes to Manny and understand what he's doing right now. He's motivating a group. We saw this happen when Soto was a part of the squad. And he had to explain to Fernando Tatis Jr. in that moment, hey, remember when he got ran out of the ball game and he's trying to explain to him, but this can't happen. This can't happen, and here's why. Here's what you're doing for us. Here's what you mean to us. So he is an extremely important part of this clubhouse. He has been everywhere he's gone. Maybe outside of his tenure in LA, which was ultimately just to leverage what? The deal he's got. So I think ultimately you can be angry at Manny Machado, but you also need to understand what he's doing, why he's doing it, and if you can, ultimately at the end of the day, separate the human being that you probably don't know and the baseball player who's playing a role, and in my opinion, playing it about as well as you could play it.
I
about
think
as well as it could be played.
The Padres are also doing an amazing job at the mental warfare part of this series.
That's what Manny's here for, bro.
That's part of it. Even just like right down to Mookie Betts jogging off the field after hitting a home run. Like he's just mentally defeated. Like the battle between these two teams goes far beyond just playing baseball. I mean, like it looks like the Dodgers are mentally defeated. Like Mookie Betts hit a home run last night and jogged off the field, and they were like, no, Mookie was actually a home run. He was like, oh, cool, great. Like he was just,
you ready?
He took himself out of the game.
Sound the music, sound the I told you so soundtrack. Because what did I fucking tell you? I told you that Mookie Betts was probably the most embarrassed he had ever been on a baseball field ever in that moment. Jogging around the bases in the playoffs, big stage, thinking he hit a homer, realizing he in fact did not hit a homer, and then had to continue the jog back to the dugout. That was the most embarrassed he had ever been on a baseball field. So in order to avoid that embarrassment, he said, bro, I've been here before. Fuck that. I'm going back to the dugout. You're not catching me rounding third again for no homer. Ain't happening. And they were like, no, Mookie, I know it's been a dark day. I know it's been a while, but you can keep going.
Should he been called out for running out of the base path?
No, because as you learned a little later in the ball game, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Should have been called out for being a fucking quitter. Quit on his own home run. Bro, I'm telling you, he's traumatized. Like imagine that. Imagine being and it's almost like he has a gigantic fragile ego or something. Like, I feel like everyone got fooled on that home run robbery. Like I feel like there's no shame in thinking that you thought it was a home run. Like everyone thought it was a home run. But just, I don't know, some egos are bigger than others. just a big ego.
Mhm.
No, I felt bad when I saw Mookie just head down, turn back to the dugout. I was like, damn, that hurts. That sucks. That sucks. But Manny Machado's play is something that every young ball player should be watching over and over and over and over again, for the reason that I outlined, because it wasn't his bat, it wasn't his glove, it was his baseball IQ. It wasn't his speed. His speed while on the bases is not what got that done. It was his understanding of the game, his ability to recall his time spent as a middle infielder, the mechanics of that play, understanding that Freddie Freeman, as valiantly as he has been playing on one wheel, was not going to be able to pop up and clear himself anymore to get a better lane. So Manny did what? He took it completely away, legally.
Freddie Freeman himself said he would have done the same thing.
Dude, it's a brilliant play. That's why as it was unfolding, I was like, oh my God, Manny, you are brilliant. I love this. And that's why you have to just, like, bro, get over the Manny, and you know what I mean? Like, appreciate the ball player. Because that was execution at its finest. We talk about the game and it being played on its brightest stage. It's not just the athleticism, it's the IQ and the intellect that this game requires.
Your throw, did you think Machado should have been called for interference?
I've looked at it many times, replayed it in my head many times. Hurtado's base runners, I would have done the same thing as a base runner to banana it, but usually you're supposed to do it after one or two steps in the dirt and go, but I would have done the same thing as a base runner. And, you know, I'm really far in the grass, and he got really far in the grass. I can certainly say I wouldn't do anything different at first. I thought I made a perfect throw and just clipped his left shoulder and bananaed enough into the line. That's what we're taught as base runners, to get into the line, and you know he did it there.
That's Freddie Freeman saying he would have done the same exact thing as Manny Machado on that play. Also, Freddie Freeman on a double play attempt defensively had to go up and get one, came back down and was hobbling around. So, I mean, we haven't seen a lineup card yet, but it's do or die for the Dodgers tonight. And Freddie Freeman was limping off the field last night.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll get to that, but that is, again, man, it's perfect execution. Absolutely perfect. And for anybody who might have been watching the post-game show with David Ortiz and Derek Jeter and Dontrell Willis and Kevin Burkhardt, they had another guy on there as well.
A-Rod was there too.
Is that so?
Alex Rodriguez.
I apologize. But don't listen to him, because he was wrong. If you listen to him, you learned how to play the game incorrectly. You can do exactly what Manny Machado did. You are allowed to just take off whatever fucking direction you want. Go. I have almost as many official scores in my phone these days as I do retired ball players and current ball players. And that was the first thing I did, was text one of the guys, and I was like, brilliant play. Love the play by Manny, blah, 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 blah. And then I asked a question about the lane and the running lane and when it's established. And it was really more trying to just confirm what I was thinking. But you have a lane established once a tag attempt is made on the runner. And from there, that runner then has 3 feet to deviate. So the lane isn't really established until the tag attempt is made. And then from there, you have 3 feet. So the runner coming down the third base line, right? And he's moving away from the baseball because it's going to be fielded, and the catcher goes to tag him and he moves around the base. Like, that's what we're talking about. So there's like a first to third. Think about a first to third runner situation. There used to be a play, and we used to run this play, where the runner on first base just takes their lead like 3 or 4 feet back and then just takes off running backwards. Why? Because the instinct of the player with the baseball is to initially, almost always, take off backwards and go for the runner. So what does the runner at third do? The runner at third breaks home. And that can only be allowed if you are allowed to take whatever route you'd like to the next base. Understanding that you got to get to second before you go to third. You cannot just run across the middle of the infield. Yeah. We all know that.
It was great by Manny Machado. I think it was commendable that the Dodgers made a game out of this. The Teoscar Hernandez. So tell me whether you guys agree with this or not. But when Teoscar Hernandez hit that grand slam to make it a 6-5 ball game with still plenty of game left, I still never felt like the Dodgers were going to win or that the momentum had shifted. It like oddly, when it was 6-5 after the Teoscar Hernandez grand slam, it almost felt like the grand slam made it 9-5.
Well, it's because
like it was a 1-run lead, but I just never felt like the Padres were at a disadvantage or that they were in jeopardy of giving up the lead or losing the game.
I felt the same exact way. And here's why. Because I said to myself, that's the biggest blow that could be delivered in the moment. Right now, that's the biggest blow that could be delivered in the moment. And it's still a futile effort. They're still trailing, right? Because it wasn't that, what was it, the second inning? The second inning for the Padres was like a true built inning, a true rally type of inning where it was base runner, knock, extra base hit, walk, out, fucking homer, right? Like just putting a cap on a massive inning. And then it was the biggest blow that the Dodgers, like I said, could have delivered in that moment. And it still was not enough. You were still down. So it was like,
the only thing that surprised me was that the Padres didn't add on more. That was the only thing that was surprising to me.
Well, that's where kind of like the homer, again, the homer takes you back to the point where it's like, all right, fuck, that was fun. What's left? Oh shit, we still got a little meat on this bone this inning, and you're not able to continue and build that next 2-out rally. But the 6 runs that came, was it 6, right? 6 in the second?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's yeah.
Jayhay, what was your emotional roller coaster like for you last night?
And I feel similarly to what you said about that it never really felt truly in danger, which is odd, given, the point that the Grand Slam is as impactful of a singular swing as you can have. And, I just, to react to what you guys said earlier, my take is that I feel like while we can debate the severity of the crime that Manny Machado committed, I just feel like the Dodgers are not coming off particularly well with the focus and complaining on this sort of stuff while simultaneously falling behind in the series. Like, I know that's a little bit unfair because one thing is one thing and the other is outcome of games. But for a team with World Series aspirations, that has felt like, I believe one of you said it in the last podcast, feels more like Shohei Ohtani and a bunch of other people than it has, the Avengers that we were told that this team was entering the season. And obviously Freddie Freeman is hugely jeopardized health-wise and is nothing like the player that they got all season. But I don't know. It's just to me, the Roberts complaining and focus. And I thought Schultz's defense was, if I am in the clubhouse on the Padres and I hear or read Mike Schultz's defense of Manny Machado and backing his guy, fuck, man. Like, forget wanting it more or not. Like, we're going to go out and get it regardless. And there's just I hate doing vibe stuff, but the vibes are just totally different right now. And that can obviously change with one swing in one game that we'll see later tonight. But the Max Muncy stuff about the bat flip on the bat toss on the, the single or whatever. And it's like, man, just like, can you not do this stuff? Can we just like go win the series and stop like focusing on this? I don't know. It's just, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I've thought a lot about what you were saying about them wanting it more, or just like this Dodgers team being kind of, I don't know, just kind of blasé or whatever about its situation. I can't shake that after watching the game yesterday.
It's hard to unnotice once you notice it. Like watching the body language of some of these guys, like even like specifically Mookie Betts, like in game one, when they were getting their asses kicked, like Mookie being like, they cut to a shot of Mookie in the outfield and it looked like he was asleep.
Yeah.
And then hitting a home run in game 3 and rounding the bases and just like, it's like, fuck, man, I'm just relieved that I have a hit, you know, like it's not about like, hey man, like we've got a lead. Woo. It's like, that's my first postseason hit since fucking Vietnam.
And it almost takes the wind out of the sail for Mookie and the team, because it feels like, oh, that homer doesn't really count because you didn't think it was a homer. So really it's 1-0, but we all know it's not 1-0. Like, yeah, it really doesn't matter.
He should have caught that.
Yeah.
Like, tick off the players that you're most excited to watch in this series / the players who have been the most exciting to watch in this series. Whatever order you want to put them in, Ohtani and then Padres, right? Like that's a crazy thing to consider when you think about what the expectations were for the Dodgers entering the season, what we thought that would all be and look like, and at times did look like in moments this year. But, you know, it's not just that the Padres are playing with more energy or whatever. Like Fernando Tatis and Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado are playing better than most of the key players on the Dodgers. And that's kind of, it's not crazy to consider, but it is interesting.
It's very interesting. It's just very interesting. I don't think that there's a ton of shock happening though. Like this. No. There's a lot of narratives this postseason that I feel like are not going to be shaken. You know, the whole Aaron Judge thing. Congrats. He walked and had an infield single. Like, I don't think Yankee fans are like, fuck yeah, we're back on track. And the whole Dodgers, like, can they make it out of the division series, or can they put up a fight in the NLCS? Well, can they get there first? Because it beyond just it seeming like, and I've seen like Dodger fans that listen to Baseball is Dead have reached out or commented and said, yeah, like even as a Dodger fan, that's how it feels to me, is that the Padres won it more. But I think secondary to that is that the Dodgers are not lifeless, but they don't have like a mojo to them. Well, like they don't have that outside of the Shohei Ohtani home run where he flips the bat and he's screaming. Like, what other moment this postseason for the Dodgers has there been? Well, like, I guess the Teoscar Hernandez grand slam, like he kind of pimped it a little bit, but like
that's a moment. But no, they don't have the personality. And here's why. Because this is a team that was top billing. This is a team that when you showed the world your roster, you felt like, just like the world did, this is a team that you could just roll out there and we'll see in October. Well, when you don't have that team anymore, you lose that star power. You lose that internal feeling. Let's call it a cape for a superhero. You lose it. You think you still have your cape because it's still Ohtani, it's still Freddie, and it's still Mookie, and it's still guys that support that cast. But the problem is when it comes time to square off in October and you don't have that roster, well, you don't have your cape. You're no longer looking at all of the areas that you were so confidently looking at throughout the season. Because during the season, it's just about sustaining a winning level of success to get you to the postseason. Can we do this over the course of the season where our matchups and our opponents vary, and on the whole, we are still better than the majority of those teams? Well, now we're playing one team. And when we stack up across the diamond, we're no longer the top dog from top to bottom. Because everything that we had that we were so confident in that got us from April through September has looked very different now in October.
Well,
Very different.
To Jayhay's point about what he said on Twitter, if my team spent over $1 billion in the offseason and then we were going into an elimination game in the first round and it was a bullpen game, like the way that I would lose my goddamn mind, it is a do or die elimination game for the Dodgers today. Once again, in the first round, the division series, you're up against it and you're going with a bullpen game as a team that spent over $1 billion.
Jay, and I'll let you go, but not to argue with it, but isn't part of the $1 billion the reason you're here? And haven't we already seen that productivity from the guy on the mound and the guy at the dish who's making up that $1 billion?
Ready for sure. Has not had a monster series outside of the home run, really.
I mean, to me, I don't want to like spending shame, because that's what I love, that the Dodgers went out and got whoever they wanted. Yeah. We're all on the same page there. To me, it's just like, it's not like that they spent $1 billion and they're here. It's that this was like a slow moving, and part of it isn't even that it's a bullpen game today. It's that a bullpen game follows Walker Buehler's start. And I'm sorry, a few Dodgers got my mentions last night and were like, are you watching the same game as us? He could have gotten out of that inning. All right, man. You know what? This dude allowed more hits than innings pitched every single month of the season that he pitched, right? And he had 0 strikeouts. And you know what happens last night? And you know what happens sometimes when you can't miss any bats? Is that too many balls get through and you subject yourself to bad luck. Is part of what happened last night on the Dodgers defense? Yeah, it sure is. Has that Tatis ball landed yet? That part might be on Walker Buehler. Okay. We talked about the Dodgers rotation all season, and the fact that we really and truly got to the point where we're in the postseason, and game 3 is Walker Buehler, who spent 4 months telling you that he was not ready for this start from a production standpoint. And the fourth game, the elimination game, to Jared's point, is a bullpen game. Fuck, man, forget that Yamamoto was hugely disappointing in game 1. That's also its own problem, but I'd be fine turning the ball over to him or whatever for another start. Not now. I understand how rest works, but it's just a crazy situation to find yourself in. And it in some senses, this isn't totally fair, but it feels like we're kind of slowly replaying a narrative that existed during Dodgers Giants when they were good, which is that the Dodgers will steamroll you during the regular season and the Giants will win when it really matters. And the Padres haven't done any of the truly winning when it really matters, but it does feel like another interdivision rivalry where the Dodgers don't take care of business in the postseason, either head to head or just generally speaking, in the way that their spending, their stature, their regular season wins, and really their roster, at least their ideal roster, suggests that they should. It's just I do wonder at some point when the vibes turn. I know that there's new players and there's been a lot of turnover on the Dodgers, and that the people who endured what they did during the Giants era are, maybe Kershaw accepting, not there anymore. But I don't know, man. If they wash out again and Dave Roberts spends half the series complaining about Manny Machado's throw into the dugout, to me, that's a tough look. And maybe fresh voice time.
It's Doc. Ooh, Jayhay's got Doc getting fired after the series. I think it's Doc trying to match energy. And again, when you're trying to when you're at a point where you're trying to match that energy, as opposed to, frankly, being in the driver's seat in a series where you should be. And again, the health is what it is, but that's all part of this. Is you have to be prepared to weather these storms when they pop up on your radar. And the Dodgers, for whatever reason, just seemingly cannot get the umbrella out in time. That is something that they have not been able to do for a long time in the postseason.
Is it complacency, Dallas?
What's that?
Is it complacency?
That's why I said. That's why I go back to the identity, man. As a group, is who are we when we're healthy and we're firing? We are an elite group of, hired guns, right? And we're still not necessarily a cohesive unit. We still don't necessarily have this identity, but we're good enough and we're healthy enough that we can win. But when it comes time to being able to, like you can laugh all you want and you can joke all you want about the dumb shit that the Mets have going on. Oh, the fucking playoff pumpkin. That shit matters, my friend. That shit matters. It absolutely matters. Absolutely matters. And when you don't even have the freedom within the room or the comfort within the room to start to allow yourself to be motivated by things that you just know are probably not externally impactful, right? Like, how big is the pumpkin to the lineup for the New York Mets tonight? I don't know. Does it feel like it's probably hitting cleanup for them? In their mind, it does. And that's what matters. And that's what matters. And that's something that the Dodgers just simply do not have. They just don't have it.
I don't buy complacency. I'm not saying you're saying this. I don't buy complacency as the answer, though, because maybe there are individuals who are, but like, to me, I look at this roster and it's on paper, it suggests to me a perfect blend of people who have been there for a long time, people who are established but haven't been there for too long, and injections of new blood. Like, it makes no sense to me that this team would be mentally complacent in terms of winning a World Series when we've spent the whole season talking about all the pressure that is on these players to perform, and the fact that Ohtani specifically and a number of these other players actually really haven't won World Series. So, like, yeah, okay, Mookie won a World Series 4 seasons ago. Freddie Freeman won a World Series 3 seasons ago. But, like, they haven't won these Worlds. Freddie didn't win the World Series for the Dodgers. And most of these people haven't won World Series for the Dodgers. So, like, or at all. So I don't know. Like, maybe something's going on, but at the end of the day, like, I feel like when I'm watching these two teams, I'm not going to walk away ready to pen some essay about how Major League Baseball's playoff structure has screwed another division winner and that the Dodgers deserved better than this. I'm going to walk away thinking that the team that was better at the time of this series won the series. And that's probably true regardless of how the Dodgers could turn this around. But if the Padres win the series, that's going to be my takeaway. I'm not going to think, what a raw deal for the Dodgers to have washed out early again. That's not, because to me, like, the Dodgers' quantity of injuries, probably not comparable to what San Diego has dealt with. But if we're really zeroing in on injuries to people that would have a true impact on this series that you couldn't have seen coming from a mile away. So I'm not including Dustin May. Anybody who expected significant contributions from a Dustin May probably wasn't paying attention. Same with Kershaw for that matter. But Tyler Glasnow is a significant miss. The Padres are missing Joe Musgrove and Ha-Seong Kim. Ha-Seong Kim has been one of their best players for 3 years now and is a very important part of what they had done this season. So just like for the Dodgers injury stuff, I'm tired of talking about that. Like, lose me. If you counted on Clayton Kershaw contributing in the postseason, and there's like a half a dozen instances of me saying this throughout the regular season, that's on you at this point. That's on you.
Oh, 100%.
So, like, yeah, not having Glasnow stinks. Okay. Like, you should still be winning these baseball games if you're what you were advertised as.
And also, in addition to that, more just beyond fan expectation, roster construction expectation. If you are the Dodgers front office and you expected Glasnow and Kershaw to be pitching for you in the postseason, that's on you that you didn't build a team that was capable of absolving this very, very likely scenario where you would be in October without both of those guys.
The one thing that has worked out for them is the Tommy Edman acquisition.
Yeah.
And shout out to me for acquiring Tommy Edman early in my fantasy draft or late in the fantasy draft, knowing this is going to be a guy I was going to hold on to for a long time, make an impact. He did. But that's just foresight, is knowing, all right, we got a guy who is going to be versatile. We got a guy who's going to be able to help us because we're going to need this help because we're not as comfortable as we thought we were. And I think Tommy Edman has been, I don't want to say the lone bright spot in terms of guys coming in, but I mean, after Tasker just hits the fucking granny, but Tommy Edman has helped.
I got a nug for you, Jayhay.
Please.
Just as far as stars go this postseason, I know that a lot of people pushed back on our take about the alerts for Shohei Ohtani, 2 at-bats away or 2 batters away, whatever. They are doing it for other players. It's not just Shohei. Like I just saw a Bryce Harper alert. He was 2 batters away. But as far as stars go this postseason, Shohei Ohtani, Francisco Lindor, Mookie Betts, Jose Ramirez, Bobby Witt Jr., and Aaron Judge coming into play today on Wednesday are hitting a combined 195 with a 612 OPS.
That is garbage. That is not good.
No, it's not. It's not
That
good.
is not good at all.
No, Fernando Tatis Jr. basically carrying the load for the stars that are in the postseason. Bryce Harper too, but he always does that.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, I wonder how unusual that really is. There's no way to measure that because, you know, what is your definition of star? You could cut it off at any point, like to make your own case, but the postseason's tough, man. And there are lots of stars who over individual postseason samples have looked like real assholes. So I'm hoping that some of these guys get a long enough runway here I really don't want, like, I don't root against the Yankees like with really any of the verve that I used to as a kid. I want Aaron Judge to turn this around. Like it's not fun for me to watch a guy that I like saw put up one of the arguably the greatest offensive season that a right-handed batter has ever put up and watch him go into the postseason and kind of fulfill the wishes of all of, you know, the worst trolls on the internet / you know, just normal Boston Red Sox fans who don't want Aaron Judge to succeed. Like I'm fine if those people want to root against him. I would like Aaron Judge to come through with some big postseason moments because that's really good for the sport when the best players perform at the biggest moments. So, yeah, you're sad. That's quite a nug. It's also depressing.
After the seasons that we've seen him put forth, doesn't it feel like there's really not much left for us to see from Judge outside of performing in the postseason? Like, we don't need to see anything else.
He used to be an awesome postseason performer. Judge was an awesome postseason performer pretty much up until he did the boombox thing going by the Red Sox clubhouse. That was like the end of it for him.
Dude, the postseason is very funny the way that it can work on narratives and stuff like that, because I just think about the 3 greatest pitchers of the generation that's just wrapping up. And I think about how all 3 of them have unimpeachable Hall of Fame, like inner circle Hall of Fame characteristics or qualifications, and will get in each with, I would imagine, 95+% of the vote. But then there's the but. But even the but isn't a but, because Scherzer, Verlander, and Kershaw have all, particularly the first 2, like Kershaw's is more just like, I wish you would have had a better postseason track record. But like the other 2 are like, they have individually really terrible runs or starts, but also individual postseasons where they were huge parts of title winning teams. And like I think it's Verlander who's got like great ERAs in like 2 of the 3 rounds of the postseason, but has a terrible ERA in the World Series. So it's like, what the hell do you do with that? Like, so he can perform in the clutch and with pressure, but not the most pressure. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like that's stupid. Like he's won winner take all game 7s prior to the World Series, but the pressure of game 2 of the World Series is too like much. It just doesn't compute. So it's like Judge's is obviously more just straightforward, like not great right now, because as Jared noted, like while he was good for the first half of his postseason career, the back half
33%. So his first 16 postseason games, 267, 380, 683. That's a 1064 OPS. He had 7 home runs in his first 16 playoff games. But over his last now 30 playoff games, 178, 274, 331. It's a 605 OPS.
Yeah. So I said there's nothing left to see from him outside of the consistent performance that we've seen in the regular season to see that in the postseason. When we're talking about legacy, it's not like we're getting greedy here and want more from Aaron Judge. We're just saying, as far as the legacy conversation goes, what he's going to do in the postseason from here on out is going to be what's impacting that legacy. It's not whether or not he pumps out another 60 plus homer season. That's, I don't want to say it's not going to matter, but that will absolutely be an afterthought if he's in the postseason 4 or 5 more times and the production is more similar to this than it is anywhere near the first 33% of the time.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not direct comps, but Mark McGwire had a 669 career OPS in the postseason. And obviously that he's not dealing with the same legacy implications that the face of the New York Yankees is dealing with. But, I want from a baseball historian, quote unquote, standpoint, I would like Judge's legacy to be greatest right-handed hitter of his generation and maybe that X number of people ever saw, and delivered a World Series championship to the New York Yankees. And thus he is in the conversation with the other Yankee greats that statistically he belongs right on alongside, if not above. If he's relegated to this like non-championship regular season kind of attraction, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I guess I don't really have it much to say other than the postseason sample size can just play incredible games with players' legacies, that good or bad. And in his case, it's pretty brutal right now.
If they don't get it done this year, I mean, he's got Juan Soto, who I'm not convinced is going to be there next year. Like, I feel like the Yankees certainly have a number in mind that they will not surpass, and the Mets don't care about that number. So we don't know. Does Soto really like it in the Bronx? We're going to find out, because I feel like the Yankees are not going to be the highest bidder. But if the Yankees can't win a World Series with Aaron Judge and Juan Soto in the same lineup in a year where they were handed the easiest path to the World Series that any American League team has had in the last fucking 30 years. I don't know. What does that mean for?
Well, could that very well mean that they're going to say, we got to, this is our best chance. This is as close as we've gotten here recently. This has got to be the formula. So Juan, what do you need, dude?
Well, what if the Royals bump them? Then what? Then it's not the closest that they've gotten.
I'm saying you're talking about like what are we looking like moving forward?
I'm saying like today.
What's that? I'm
saying like today. The Yankees are in a spot now where the Royals. I think, I mean, I get it. I'm a Red Sox fan, so anything negative that I say about the Yankees is going to come across as like bias or something. And I like Jazz Chisholm, but like they got beat bad. Like Rodon going out there and peacocking around, as Ken Rosenthal would say, after striking out the side in the first inning, but then not being able to make it through 4, ultimately losing the game. And then Jazz Chisholm saying that the Royals just got lucky after. None of it's a good look. And as a Red Sox fan, I almost miss, like, I've said this before about, it's a similar thing. People talking about robo-umps. Do you want robo-umps? And it's like, no, I don't want robo-umps because I like getting upset about blown strike calls. Like, I like knowing that I still care that much. Like, I like being like, what the fuck? It's a fucking strike. Like, I like that part of fandom. With the Yankees, like, these guys they wear the pinstripes. They've got the clean cut haircuts. They've got the shaved faces. and they're professional. They're businesslike. Like I grew up on Andy Pettitte going out there and just carving your ass up, not even saying a word, looking like just staring at you through the glove like this. That's what I grew up on. They would like Derek Jeter. If Derek Jeter were the captain of the New York Yankees, he would bitch slap someone for saying the other team got lucky when they beat them. Like he would never say something like that. Pettitte would never pitch it like as cocky as Rodon did, and it's embarrassing. Like it pains me that I have secondhand embarrassment for the Yankees after that performance across the board.
I'm trying to go back and think. Like I can't remember. I can't remember a starting pitcher. Definitely can't remember a starting pitcher in the postseason emoting to that extent in the first inning.
Like you better turn in a performance like Sean Manaea did against the fucking Phils if that's how you're gonna act in the first inning. Like you better go 7 shut plus.
Because like from a fan perspective, this is the equivalent to that. Is you watch like one at bat, one strikeout, and you're like, it's like me looking at you guys during the live stream and going, boys, hey, something special tonight. Something special tonight. Yeah. Everybody lock the fuck in. Yeah. And then after the second out, I'm like, hey, what did I tell you, everybody? Mm-hmm. Sir, and then after the third one.
Didn't you do that?
After
that feels
the third
like something
one,
you would do, actually.
Yeah, did you tell us?
No, I was not there.
You know what, Dallas? I think I have to drop an I told you so, because I said I did not like Rodon when they announced the rotations. I was like, Rodon in game 2, don't love that. Would have went Clark Schmidt in game 2. Now he's going to be the game 3 starter in Kansas City. Did not like Rodon in game 2. It's just, I don't know. Like I'm a Red Sox fan, so I'm supposed to hate the Yankees, and I do. But I just like had this soft spot for the players and the fans being like, oh my God, like you guys are such fucking losers. I was embarrassed for them. It used to be that they were the monster under your bed, like New York, the Bronx, Yankee Stadium, October. It was scary. Like going to Yankee Stadium in October was like a haunted house as a kid. You're like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. You can't make me. It ain't the same haunted
house, Jared.
No, it's not.
It ain't the same haunted house,
and it's not
buddy.
the same monsters. It's not the same monsters in there either. Yeah, I don't know. Like Jazz Chisholm saying the Royals got lucky. I'm just like, no, they didn't. Like they played Royals baseball. They were aggressive on the base paths. They made contact. They put the ball in play. They made things happen. They made great defensive plays. And you know, like it's not. You can't say the Royals got lucky when half the reason why you guys fucking lost. How many times did Giancarlo Stanton come up in a spot where his speed or lack thereof cost you runs or outs? You know, anyone else is beating out those plays, and it's not a double play for most average runners, or it's a run scored if anyone else is on the base paths.
Yeah,
like that's not the Royals getting lucky. It's your team not being as good as you think it is.
You got the Royals infielders like knocking the ball down and then doing like a set of burpees and still having time to get up and throw Giancarlo Stanton out by a large margin.
I said after game 1, I was like, you can solve a Rubik's Cube and watch an episode of Unsolved Mysteries by the time Giancarlo Stanton gets to first base. And someone replied and said, and solve the mystery. So like it is, it's, I don't know. I just, it rubs me the wrong way, but not in a way where if you're a Dodger fan, Manny Machado is going to rub you the wrong way because he's trying to get under your skin. Whereas like the stuff that the Yankees are doing, it's just kind of like cringe. It's Jared, a little cringe.
I think the Yankees and the Dodgers are in a similar boat when it comes to a lack of.
But the Padres are backing it up.
What's that?
The Padres are trying to get under Dodger fans' skin and the Dodgers themselves, but they're backing it up by whooping their ass. Like the Yankees are like, oh, they got lucky. Like what?
Who did I say? I said the Yankees.
I think
and the
you just
Dodgers.
mixed up the teams, Dallas. That's
okay.
all.
I meant Yankees and the Dodgers are in similar boats. Sorry if I said 2 other teams. And it's the lack of that personality. Who are we? Right? You're a collection of personalities. You're a collection of these players. but what have you taken on together? Who are you together, right? Like, are we Captain Planet together, or are we still just trying to fight the planet separately? Like, who are we?
I mean,
and that's what I think the Yankees and the Dodgers are.
You guys are being way too critical. You guys are being way too critical of Jazz here. I'm going to tell you what. It's one of the most relatable things I've ever heard a baseball player say. Because
are you going to give us some BABIP? Some expected BA?
I saw he liked I don't know if this was a real tweet. I saw that he liked a chart that he found on Twitter saying that like the Yankees would have been expected to win 78% of the time, which is just like, dude, just log off at that point. But seriously, most relatable thing a baseball player said all season, because I really like it when a baseball player professionally behaves the exact same way I behave as it relates to fantasy sports, where every single time I lose, there's an element of bad luck that was involved. And the process was great because I'm running the process. But the outcome, how can you control that sort of thing? So
we all know that baseball players are the biggest liars when it comes to lying to themselves about how things are going in the moment. Things are always going significantly better than they are, and they can never quite possibly be going as bad as they are. All right. It's the balance you're trying to find. Like, buddy, I feel like I'm over 30. Well, you were actually 1 for 3 with a couple walks, and it's because you're hitting 470 this month. Can you chill the fuck out? Yeah, I guess you're right. It has been a while since I got 2 knocks. Actually, it was the first game of the doubleheader. You got 2 knocks. This is game 2 and you went 1. Shut up. That's just how the mind operates, man. So you spend every day fucking lying to yourself about how good you are, how good you're not, just trying to make peace with it somewhere in the middle.
Well, I think the other thing too, one of the largest criticisms of the New York Yankees was, well, it's easier said than done, but if you just don't have to pitch to Soto and Judge, then you just beat them. And Aaron Judge has essentially taken himself out of the equation from an offensive standpoint. Juan Soto, 3 hits in game 1. Yankees win. Game 2, Juan Soto 0 for 4. Yankees lose. So, I mean, Judge, they're attacking. I know that 1 walk, I believe it was on a 3-2 pitch. So, I mean, there was still the chance that even that 1 walk that Aaron Judge received could have been a strikeout. But yeah, it's almost like if you are able to attack and neutralize just Juan Soto, you're good. Like the Yankees had scored 1 run up until the 9th inning when Jazz Chisholm hit a meaningless home run in the 9th. Outside of that, nothing doing with the offense.
I feel like it's a timing issue with Judge. Just watching him and watching some of the swings and the mechanical preparation on deck. There's just something, just a hair late. I think it's a timing issue. That's what I'm going to be paying attention to.
Yeah, to me, I look and I just see like, to me, it's like why isn't the bat hitting the ball issue?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's like, damn, it's like if the ball would go so much further if I touched it with the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think
that's what I'm going to be looking forward. That's what I'm going to be looking forward
for him to hit the ball.
Yeah.
I just
make contact.
Just watching his. Yeah, you can just feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I can feel the wind when he swings for sure. Yeah.
Well, I was getting ready to say something that I just don't want clipped off, so I had to quickly reroute that.
Sure,
I know. Yeah, the social media folks in charge of the show will kill you every time.
Every time.
No, I was going to say, you can just feel guys, and you can see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Clip that off.
Yeah. To me, it's more of like a underdog fantasy app type deal.
Oh gosh, where you go and you get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a special pick.
Yes. Yep. But you have to sign up with the promo code Jared. That's JARED in order to receive those things we just discussed.
That's true. It's a good week to sign up though.
Yeah. Playoff baseball, always a great time to get in on the action. And honestly, it's probably a great day, not just a great week. It's a great day to do it.
Well, today's day 9 of Boost Ober. I don't know if you're familiar with what's going on at Underdog, but it's the month of October, but it's Boostober.
I see what they did there.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
And today, live officially at 11:30 Eastern. So by the time anyone listens to this podcast while you're checking out the baseball games, there's going to be a special treat in there.
Wow.
So if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't done the sign up yet, go to Underdog, promo code Jared, and then you'll be part of Boostober just like all of us are.
Wow. Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah. I mean, truly.
Yeah.
For Underdog.
Yes. Go to Underdog, promo code Jared. Also, you should probably check out Navage. Very upsetting that we didn't do the Navage thing on camera. I would have loved to have seen Joe be able to go through that process.
I think you guys got a good feel for where Joe's at in terms of spirit. He's somebody who wears his emotions on his sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
So when things were maybe not going quite well for the Atlanta Braves, Joe told you to take your dong gong and shove it up. He was not going to be participating in the dong gong. Things started to turn around a little bit, and then Joe was all in on the dong gong.
Sure.
So I think Joe Joe's he's not necessarily the twig in the stream that we would all like him to be, just going with the flow. There's some rocks in the way for Joe at times.
That's fine. I think the other thing too is that if I let him use my Navage, that he would have just taken it with him and then I wouldn't have one. So I'm kind of glad that's also why he didn't participate, because I prefer to keep it for myself.
Is that something that you guys would swap? Is that something you guys would like have joint custody of? Is the Navage? Would you let him?
Well,
have
he
that
doesn't
on
live
Monday,
anywhere
Wednesday,
close, so
Friday?
no. I would recommend that he get his own. I
would highly recommend that everybody get their own Navage.
Yes, because breathing is the most essential act of our bodies. It's why congestion, sinuses, allergies, and colds can take a big toll on our well-being. But nasal hygiene isn't often part of our everyday routines, but it should be. That's why I've been loving my Navage nasal care unit. Navage makes breathing easy even easier and quickly has become part of my daily routine, just like brushing my teeth. Navage believes every breath that you take should feel effortless. It uses smooth saline flow and gentle patented nasal suction to clear nasal passages. Plus, it's drug-free and uses 99.9% pure saline salt pods with no medicinal side effects. And it works as fast as 30 seconds. Now listen, I'm someone that admittedly didn't even start blowing my nose until my 30s. The whole breathing nasally thing, it's been a big struggle for my whole life. Going into my 30s, I was like, we're going to give this blowing my nose thing a shot. And boy, did that come across as a life-changing event.
You've started blowing and you haven't looked back.
Exactly. And then I thought, how could it get even better than this?
Oh, talk to me.
Enter Navage. I was like, I mean, this whole nose blowing thing, this got to be the top of the mountain, right? No, wrong. Start breathing easier today. Order the Navage starter pack. It comes with everything that you need to get started. And trust me, you're going to love it. Plus, BID listeners can get a free cleaning kit as a gift, but only when you order through our exclusive link, which is navage.com/BID, and use the promo code BID. Again, to order your Navage and free cleaning kit. And for a full product details, go to navage.com/BID. That's promo code BID at navage.com/BID. Life-changing. Truly life-changing. And it would be life-changing for a lot of people that we know, Jayhay, if the Mets were able to pull off the miracle against the Phillies.
Oh, yes.
Who all of us picked, by the way. We all picked the Phillies, every single one of us. And now the New York Metropolitans are a game away from the NLCS for the first time since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2015.
Shout out Sean Manaea.
Yes.
Sean
I was gonna
Manaea
tweet the video, but there are too many former company logos in the background. But I have a video from like Dallas and I on stage doing a live show at spring training in Arizona. And it's just like, it's like panning the crowd. Everyone's happy. And then it just zooms right in on Sean Manaea at the live show by himself, just like sitting there like, yeah.
He's just he is such a jovial human being
Great
to be
person.
around.
Yes.
He truly is. I'll never forget that, because like we were planning to get together, and he was like, "Yeah, well, what do you got going?" I was like, we're doing a live show." I was like, "Yeah, you should come by, check it out." And he was like, "Where it's at, or where is it?" And I sent him the text, and then that was it. It wasn't like, "Yeah, hey, please come by." It wasn't like all right, man, I'll see you there. Like, that was it. Here's where it's at. And then as we're sitting there talking, I remember Jared looking at me going, "Hey, is that fucking Sean Manaea?" And I was like, yep. Yeah. Yep. That's Manouche. That's him. And he is, I mean, like a fucking sore thumb, right? You got this giant fucking Samoan just sitting in the middle of everybody.
Well, at the time, he had bleach blonde, like his hair was like, it was like,
that's what I was going to say. His hair,
it looked
is
like he was
just
wearing
fucking,
an Abraham Lincoln hat, but it was bleach blonde.
yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful human being. And that's why I said start of his life. And it was impeccable, just a phenomenal outing. And as we found out later, under some pretty tough circumstances, finding out that his Aunt Mabel had just passed literally hours before he goes and takes the ball in the biggest outing of his career. And for him to dial up the performance he did, it was dominant. He was poised and in control. It was a commanding performance. And I use that word specifically because to look at how he operated stuff-wise, it wasn't that he leaned on any one thing to have success. He was just dominant from top to bottom in terms of success. Getting ahead of batters, 18 for 26, first pitch strike rate. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
37 total fastballs, 2-seamers, sinkers, 29 of those for strikes. It's pretty good. 27 sweepers, 17 of those for strikes. 23 changeups, 16 of those for strikes. Okay, so you're seeing the strike rate, and it's with every single pitch. Every single pitch. 19 total swing and misses, 6 punch outs. So when I tell you it was a commanding performance, it wasn't dominant by way of 14 punch outs, 15. No, it was everything that he was throwing was working. He was ahead. It was weak contact. They just never had an opportunity, is what it really felt like. And in that performance, he became the 8th Met to give up 3 earned runs or fewer, 3 hits or fewer over 7+ innings with 0 earned runs allowed in a postseason start. And again, the arsenal, 8 of 9 first pitch strikes with the fastball, 6 of 8 first pitch strikes with the changeup, and half the sweepers he threw landed for strikes as well, 4 for 8. So when you talk about trying to attack a lineup differently, maybe second, third time through, giving these guys different looks, we often talk about going maybe with a backwards approach or vice versa. If you've started soft early in the game, maybe you start to double up on some fastballs and you start with just a different attack plan second and third time through. Well, that's exactly what Manaea was able to do. Keep them off balance. Every pitch he threw, he was 1 pitch ahead. And in an outing where you have to create flow, and he had game flow dripping off of his fingertips, he was the one establishing the momentum in the game. For him and Francisco Alvarez to take note of what's going on specifically with a certain pitch, and it was Alvarez who talked about identifying the changeup as a pitch that was really working for him. In 19 starts for the Mets for Sean Manaea, he threw 1 changeup to left-handed hitters. 1. in 19 starts. He threw 4 last night between Schwarber and Harper. And that's, I mean, you saw the last at bat against Harper. That was fucking abusive. Changeup, slider. Thanks for coming. Like, just, buddy, that's having feel and letting the game, letting the ball, and letting the other team dictate how we're going to go about our business. Because it was Manaea in complete control, and it was them, he and his battery mate, Alvarez, doing a phenomenal job of what I just said. What's the baseball doing? Let's take note of that. What's the opponent doing, or what they're not doing? Let's take note of that. And let's fucking attack. And that's exactly what happened.
The coolest part about the Sean Manaea start to me was, I don't know, 2 or 3 different times that he finished an inning. There was kind of like there was the celebration coming off the mound, but there was also just the, all right, hell of an outing for Sean Manaea. Like, who's up next? And it's like, Sean Manaea's up next.
Still rolling, boss.
Yeah, like there was 2 or 3 different instances where the broadcast kind of sounded like, well, great outing for Manaea here, 5 shut, that's awesome. And then he would come back out, and then they would put a ball on it. Then he would come back out. So I thought that was really cool that, dude, they let him ride like that.
Well, you said that, and my wife was like, did he already shake hands? Because that's how I've explained to her.
Yeah.
That's how I explained to her what to look for, right? Like, hey, typically what we'll show or what you'll see, the hug and handshakes. And she's like, did they shake hands? Did he shake? And I was like,
no. Every time and beyond just like the shaking hands, every time they cut to him in the dugout, no jacket. So I was like, he's still full uni. Well, he's sitting by himself, almost like he's got a no-hitter going. People weren't sitting near him. Like, there were no congrats, no nothing. He was kind of just doing his own thing, waiting to be summoned to go back out there, and he did. And
I'll say this about Sean, because, and I think it should be said, this is a dude who has been a colorful character since the day he showed up in the big leagues, right? Has been unapologetically himself. He's not abrasive by any means. He is a soft-spoken giant, but he's somebody who, when he speaks or he starts to take on a leadership role, you should pay attention to that, because that's the maturation process unfolding before our very eyes. Because Sean was a guy who, a lot of times, even after his outings, whether they were good, bad, or indifferent, would still kind of hang around. And maybe there was times where he would benefit from getting to the clubhouse a little early and sort of licking his wounds and taking it on the chin by himself. But he's always been a guy who's wanted to be around the boys, who's wanted to do it for the boys. And so for him to reach a point where the focus is heightened and it's centered on the task at hand, I think that just continues to speak volumes for who this dude has become as a player, as a competitor. And I always go back to a conversation I had with him early in the spring one year when it was coming hot out of the hand. And I was like, yo, Manoush, what do you got, man? Like, take me through the postseason, or take me through the off season. What was the one thing that you needed to do to become the Sean Manaea you needed to become? And he said, I just need to quit being nice. I'm too nice out there. And it was true. Because that's how good of a dude he is. That's how nice of a human being he is. He's almost like I played with a guy by the name of Justin Dukeshire, who at one point in his career talked about I almost feel bad for striking guys out, because I strike them out and then those numbers end up on the back of their baseball card. They got to take those into arbitration. They got a family to feed. And I, we're laughing about it because it sounds kind of silly, but Duke was somebody who at the time was battling, some mental fatigue, just battling some demons inside. And that was part of what he was thinking about. That was part of what was weighing on him as a competitor. So you can imagine what it's like taking that mindset out there and almost feeling bad for what you're about to try and go do. Well, Sean Manaea has figured out a way and has found a way and in a wonderful fashion to take that kindred spirit that he is and turn it into a cold-blooded fucking assassin on the mound. Because I saw it last night again, and I've said it before. When that big fella gets to rocking and he's waiting on the mound, you can see it's just slight. It's just a little shoulder wag, like, Like, buddy, just put the fucking finger down. Just hit the fucking pitch comp button already, because this is a done deal. And he was powered by not only the baseball gods, but by the Ohana as well. So I'm very happy that Manaea had that outing, that the Mets were able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, no doubt. Jayhay, what were your takeaways on Sean Manaea's performance?
I mean, we talked all season about the Mets starting pitching, and would that be viable enough to get into the postseason, to be in the postseason mix? Yes, the answer to that is yes. They got into the postseason, and now we're talking about that rotation being a driving force behind knocking off a team that we spent most of the season anointing as the best or the second best in baseball, or the National League, whose rotation we questioned at absolutely no time whatsoever, and we spent most of the season praising. It's just crazy how baseball works. The Mets rotation, I mean, I was obviously wrong about this. The Mets rotation is clearly good enough to win the division series, and from there, I think, I guess we'll see. But Manaea's performance specifically, and for that matter, Quintana's performance earlier in the postseason as well. You're getting performances from guys that I didn't expect to deliver at the beginning of the season at this level. And now Manaea's been doing this. Obviously, this has been his best season, maybe in his entire career, certainly in several seasons. And he's been pitching his best baseball of this season in the second half of the season. So that he performed well here on October 8th, or yesterday on October 8th, that isn't necessarily surprising. But if I review how I felt about it for most of the season, and certainly at the beginning of the season, that Sean Manaea is outdueling Aaron Nola in Game 3 of the DS, that's an upset. And that's not how these teams were built to collide against each other. And that's obviously a credit to all the stuff that Dallas spoke of. But he's a much more impressive pitcher than I recall seeing in the previous 3 or 4 seasons.
I also thought it was interesting that the Phillies, in their pregame preparation, put the pitching machine way left of the pitcher's mound to simulate the arm angle that Sean Manaea has, because it's coming at you from just a completely, like, there's no point in practicing or preparing for something that isn't going to be the case. And then just, I don't know, it's kind of funny to me that they did that and ended up not scoring a single run against Sean Manaea. Well,
I was going to say, a lot of teams, like, I don't want people to read into that like that's some crazy forward thinking approach, or it's something that every team should be doing, or that's something that a lot of teams do. That's not crazy. That's just, that is what it is, especially when you're facing guys, high spin. Like, I promise you can ask anybody who was going to make a start against Lance McCullers in recent years. They got the breaking ball machine out, and that thing was just spinning benders all fucking afternoon. So, but yeah, for them to not be able to capitalize, I see the sort of humor in it.
Yeah. Well, that was all for naught. It is 2 games to 1. The Mets can punch their ticket to the National League Championship Series today.
How about what inning was it? What inning was it? The 6th inning, where the Mets, we had a tie game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tie game, bases loaded.
Wait,
nobody out. That's
why would it have been
game.
tied? They didn't score a run.
Or when did this happen?
When did what happen?
When who was it? When Nola came out of the game with the bases loaded, right?
I mean, Nola gave up 2 home runs, so it would have never been tied.
What am I thinking about?
I don't know, dude.
When
You're
Kirkring
fucking
came
high.
in. Kirkring came in the 6th, right? Let me go back and look.
Yes, he came in the 6th.
What was the score?
2-0.
It was, hold on, I want to pull up the exact score at the time he came into the game. So Nola had put 2, well, he let 3 on. It was 2-0 when he came into the game.
Okay.
And then Marte had the
Marte
2-run
got the
single.
Well,
that made it 4-0, and 2 those were assigned to Nola.
Yes. So it wasn't tied. They were down 2-0, but that was a big point in the game where if Kerkering is able to get out of that, things are different. Things are very different. And he almost got out of that shit. Bases loaded, nobody out. And he comes in and got Winker to fly out. Or who was it? Was it Iglesias? Iglesias to ground out weakly. And then Winker to fly out, right? Yes.
Yes.
And then the fucking Marte knock for 2 runs. So think about that. If Kerkering can get out of that spot, which he damn near did, game looks very different or could look very different.
I mean, it's obviously not just this, but it's kind of shocking how bad the Phillies bullpen has been. Like, I know that Nola got the 4 runs assigned to him, and that this is yesterday's game was arguably the best that the Phillies bullpen has performed in the 3 games. I mean, it's been a disaster. They've been a disaster. And that Kerkering was not able to wiggle out of that. I'm not going to sit here and wag my finger at him specifically because he got the first 2 out of a really hard situation, but ultimately he didn't come through. Like, they didn't stop the runs from coming in. And
could have the double play, Jayhay. That ball was bobbled, was it not?
No, I get it. They have a 12 ERA in 9 innings.
It's
the
not
bullpen
good.
this postseason. And that doesn't count Kerkering being unable to get those inherited runs stranded, which again, a very difficult situation. But like they've either absolutely like blown games / shit down their leg in games, or they haven't been able to bail out the starters in the most important moments. And that's just like, it's not all of that. The Mets timely hitting, the Mets starting pitching, all of that. But like the Phillies bullpen, as far as a unit has maybe performed the worst, certainly the worst of any individual unit, and maybe the most pivotal non-performance of any unit either.
Yeah, this is where they were going to need help.
The next worst bullpen was the Brewers at 5.65 in the postseason. They have a 12. You can't be worse than what they have done in this postseason, really. 9 innings pitched, 17 hits, 13 runs, 3 homers, and 5 walks. They've allowed 22 base runners in 9 innings. What are we doing? Basically, half the people who have faced Phillies bullpen pitchers this postseason have reached base.
Have got on base, yeah.
That's fucked up, man.
That's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
That's not 22,
22 or 23 of 49 batters reaching base. Get out of here.
Yep. Seems like the firemen are starting some fires.
It do be seeming that way. And then I guess last but not least here, Emmanuel Clase carried Carpenter. You know what? Credit to Stephen Vogt, because Voter came out after the game and was like, listen, we're talking about maybe the best closer in baseball. He's human. It's going to happen. It just so happened to take place on this pitch was, the most important AB of the entire season, but he's human and it's going to happen. It's just unfortunate that it happened then. Which is the case. I mean, you're not going to be like, wow, Clase sucks, huh? No. One of the best pitchers in the game. But, I mean, I guess credit to Kerry Carpenter, who I think if you didn't watch the game live and you only saw the clip of the home run, that at bat was a battle. Like, he was fouling off pitches to get a pitch that he thought he could put a good swing on and drive the ball.
94 mile an hour slider, right?
Yeah. Was it a changeup or a slider? Slider. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 94 mile an hour slider. And I mean, the only thing that I thought to myself is he getting beat on something other than his best pitch? That was my only issue.
I believe Petriello tweeted out that in terms of movement, it was the second flattest slider that Clase threw all season, of like 200 something sliders. So,
and yeah,
That's tough.
and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know the average velocity of Clase slider right off the top of my head. But when you think about pitches flattening out, a lot of times that comes from working under or around the baseball. And it just, you're trying to create movement. You're trying to probably do a little more than you should in the moment. And that's what happens. They just mix and they get fucking hammered.
That's tough. Jayhay, any?
But we knew this,
any
right?
words
Didn't
on
we
this?
know? We said it. We said that Tarek Skubal and that
Dog.
outing, it was going to be one that they were going to win. That was going to be the one that they were going to win.
yeah, I mean, it was obvious. My reaction is that, yes, it was a game that the Tigers had to win. It was quote unquote more important for them. There was not a level of expectation that the Guardians wouldn't win, but that beating Skubal would be difficult. And that proved to be the case. It is exceptionally difficult though, when, the actual, mode of loss is a 3-run homer off of a guy who had
Stopper.
basically allowed that number of runs during the entire regular season. That is a tough blow, both, in terms of how you feel in the moment in that game, and also, I'm sure psychologically is a little bit of a blow. It haunts. Not that this is the World Series, but it certainly haunts me as a Guardians fan in terms of high profile or prolific closers performances in the postseason. But I would have an enormous amount of confidence if the Guardians go up in this game and the 9th inning comes around and Emmanuel Clase is back on the mound. That's how this team is designed. And if it goes down with its bullpen not doing the job, then that's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, it's, you would have loved to have stolen that game with Skubal on there, and they were in a position to do so, and they had their best pitcher on the mound. So that's a tough sequence. And now we go to Alex Cobb. I think Sarah Langs tweeted that he's the first guy to go on this amount of. Hold on, let me pull it up. It was a pretty remarkable.
This amount of rest.
Yeah, it doesn't inspire a great deal of confidence. Is the main takeaway for me. Wednesday will be Alex Cobb's first postseason outing since starting Game 3 of the 2013 ALDS for the Rays.
So over a decade.
He'll be the first pitcher to go 10 plus seasons between postseason starts since Brett Saberhagen went from 85 to 95. I said I think I'd rather have Saberhagen starting the game than Alex Cobb. But,
Wow.
Yeah, we'll see. Matt Boyd put them in a position to be able to win the game. There's no reason that I guess Alex Cobb can't as well, as good as Kiter Montero has been in moments this season. If Cleveland is a serious contender, then Kiter Montero is the type of guy that you need to be prepared to beat. So new game, new day, tough L, but Detroit needed that one too.
Stephen Kwan, was that a catch?
That was a catch. Absolutely.
Thumb
was under it. Tough
to say if we've established that it is, it's tough to say that it's not, would be my ruling on that catch. Almost like a visual trick.
Yeah.
It feels like there's like your brain or your eyes are playing tricks on you as you watch the
thumbs under the ball. The ball hits, boop.
I wouldn't put any amount of hits
thumb.
Yeah, that's fine. I wouldn't put any amount of real money or risk on my part in whether that was a catch or not. It just, I can't. I watch it over and over again. I see kind of whatever I want to see in the moment. And obviously, as a Guardians fan, I'd like to see it as a catch. But ultimately, I guess they didn't win the game. So,
yeah. All right. We can finish with this.
Wow.
Who, if anybody, whose season ends tonight?
I believe the Dodgers season ends tonight.
Wow, dude. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
not a
And
hot
that's
take.
coming from someone who picked the Dodgers.
That is.
Hmm.
It is. They're scrambling right now. They are scrambling. And they're getting ready to face Dylan Cease.
Whew.
Who was Cheeks in game 1?
Yeah, was not effective.
I don't think this series has given us all it's got to give. I think both games go to 5.
Wow.
I think the Fightins and early season and the April Cy Young Award winner Ranger Suarez
Mm-hmm.
are gonna claw this one away from Jose Quintana. By the way, are we all on the same page about how awesome Jose Quintana's been lately? Like,
Yeah.
like unconsciously good
Yes.
over his last 7 starts, 3 earnings in 42 and a third. That's a 0.64 ERA. That being said, I'm taking them to lose tonight, or this afternoon. And I think the Dodgers, I think they take this narrative and they flip it right on its head. And then we don't have any idea what to make of this series going into game 5.
Does this do anything for you, Jayhay? Throughout the postseason, the Philadelphia Phillies are hitting 125 as a team against left-handers, while the New York Metropolitans are hitting a robust 400 with an
Ooh.
OPS north of 1,000. As
Let me
a
tell you, I mean, it does something for me. It's a nice little bit of nuggy, but that's exactly what the baseball gods and the stats want you to believe going into this.
Yes.
Mhm.
Numbers
Just when
guy
you-
says, fuck the numbers. You hear that here,
Just
people?
when you think you gotta read on how these postseason series are going, let me tell you, that's when they turn it on you. That's when they
I
turn
like
it
it.
right around.
I like to hear that. Don't listen to the numbers. Though the numbers might tell you, don't listen
Put
to
them in the garbage.
Mhm.
Put them
Mhm.
in the garbage.
I'm here with that.
That's
Ranger
right.
Suarez or Jose Quintana red hot. Phillies can't hit lefties. Mets crush lefties. Phillies with the win.
Go
Well, if you want to go to any of these games tonight, you're listening, you're like, man, I'm in the area. Why don't you download the Game Time app? Because Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. So you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. There's a rumor on the street that we may be going to the NLCS to see the winner of Phil's Mets play at home. That's on the table. Could be a thing. We're probably going to have to use Game Time Picks because the curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The all-in pricing, you toggle that feature and it will show you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. We can get a panoramic view from our seats in the app before we buy our tickets. And of course, the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit us 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry today. Take guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code BID for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the promo code BID for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Dallas, what time is it?
Game time.
Game time. We do have an interview with Lauren Tuscola, which is coming up in just a minute. But before we get to that, Jayhay, do you have Nuggs or a final thought?
Yeah, I got Nuggs, man.
I bet
What do you think? What do you think I'm here for? Teoscar Hernandez, the 6th Grand Slam in Dodgers postseason history, albeit in a losing effort, along with Max Muncy in 2020, Kike Hernandez in 2017, James Loney in 2008, and both Dusty Baker in 1977. Michael King became the first pitcher since Zach Greinke in 2011 to allow 5 or more runs in a postseason start and get the win. That was kind of a weird little quirk of last night's box score. First time in 13 years that's happened. On the flip side of that was Walker Buehler, who became the first pitcher since not that long ago, Jordan Montgomery in Game 2 of the World Series last season, but the first Dodgers pitcher since Don Sutton in Game 3 of the 1978 NLCS to have 0 strikeouts in a start of 5 or more innings pitched in the postseason. Fernando Tatis Jr., you may have heard of him. He's hitting .556 with 4 homers, 7 RBI, 8 runs, and a 1.970 OPS in the postseason. Would you guys believe that that is the second best 5-game start to a single postseason in baseball history, minimum 20 plate appearances, behind only the unforgettable Colby Rasmus in 2015? No, this was Houston.
Astros.
This is the Houston era Rasmus.
Rasmus.
Who put up 2.095 OPS through the first 5 games of the 2015 postseason for the Astros. That included 4 homers and 7 walks in 5 games for Colby Rasmus. If you're wondering, what is the best 5-game sample, regardless of whether it's the start of the postseason or just the postseason overall, I have that answer for you too. It's, anybody want to guess? Best 5-game stretch by OPS in postseason history?
David Freese.
No, it's Carlos
Beltran.
Yeah. 2004, he put up a 2.362 OPS over 5 games. Check out these stats. Over 5 games, he hit 6 homers. He scored 11 runs. He had 10 RBI, 5 walks. Absolutely incredible. He had 6. That's a 6.11 batting average. So what Tatis is doing, that's the 8th best 5-game stretch in postseason history. Other names ahead of him: Barry Bonds in 2002, the aforementioned Rasmus in 15, Beltran, a separate 5-game stretch in 2004 as well, David Ortiz's memorable run in 2013, and Daniel Murphy in 2015. Pete Alonso is the 12th batter in Mets franchise history to have a homer in 3 or more games within a single postseason. Dallas shouted out Sean Manaea. He's the 7th left-hander in Mets franchise history to have a start of 7 or more innings and 1 or fewer runs allowed, joining Tom Glavine in 2006, Mike Hampton in 2000, Al Leiter in 1999, Bob Ojeda in 1986, John Matlack in 1973, and Jerry Koosman in 1969. And I already shared the Quintana Nug, which is his 0.64 ERA over his 7-start stretch, going back to the beginning of September. The end of August in the postseason. So those are the Nugs.
Dallas, any final thoughts?
No. I think we've had some great pitching performances thus far. I would like to see this series between the Dodgers and the Padres be extended another. I really do feel like the Dodgers are a ship without a rudder right now. It's a nice ship. It's a wonderful ship. There's a lot of beautiful accommodations on board. They're just not quite sure where they're going right now. And that's a dangerous ship to be on. But I'd love to see it go 5. I think just for pure theatrics, pure excitement.
You know what, Dallas? I'll double down on that take with you. I picked the Padres. I want the Padres to advance. I came to the conclusion this morning that when I had the take of you can make the case for any team, can get behind any team if they advanced, and there's something interesting to watch if any team advanced from the division series. But what I came down to the Dodgers was it's really only Shohei that I care about as far as the Dodgers are concerned. Like any Dodger storyline, I don't really care about at all. I think I would have cared more if Kershaw was pitching and if Glasnow was pitching. So yeah, really any storyline tied to the Dodgers is just Shohei related. With the Padres, it's so much more. There's so many different levels of investment that you can get into with that team making a run. So I'm not saying I want it to end today. I do still want them to win, but having a decisive game 5, yeah, sign me up for that. Especially with how hostile it was in LA in game 2. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that series going back to LA for a do or die. Game 5, yeah, sure. All right, Jake, when are we back?
We will be back on Friday morning at the conclusion of all the game 4s.
Okay, there you go. Back on Friday to talk about all the game 4s ending. And as promised, to sign us off, a very, very fun interview with Lauren Tuscola to sign us off. We'll see you guys on Friday. All right, we have Lauren Tuscola here with us today. First of all, welcome. You are local, yes?
I am local, calling in from Alston. It's great to meet you.
All right, where are you from originally?
I'm from Worcester, just outside of Worcester. Yeah, Central Mass. Born and raised in Massachusetts, so made the move east. But yeah, go Woo Sox.
Go Woo Sox. Yes, they did a Section 10 night this year. It was very fun. The ballpark is awesome. Have you had a chance to experience Polar Park?
I have. So I worked for the Woo Sox for a year in that transition phase, just helping like some research around Worcester baseball history. First perfect game or first no-hitter was thrown in Worcester, claim to fame for Worcester, Massachusetts. But, so I've been around the park and yeah, it's a great experience. It's so cool that it's in central Massachusetts and to have that in Worcester has been amazing.
Love that. Love that. So when did, I guess, your journey to getting in the sports world begin? What was the goal? And at what point were the twists and turns? Because I know that for me personally, like I get the question of like, oh, did you ever think that you'd be where you are today? I'm like, well, no, the things that I'm doing today didn't exist when I started. So like, when did you decide that you wanted to be in sports? And then when you made that decision, is what you're doing today something that even existed when you made that decision in the first place?
Yeah, I love that question because definitely not. Like I could not dream to be writing about women's and men's sports every single day and be in the mix. So great question. I'm a lifelong sports fan, lifelong Boston sports fan. Red Sox have been my team forever. Like
Let's go.
2004 World Series changed my life and I was hooked from there. So Boston sports fan forever and followed sports all growing up, played sports. I knew I wanted to be in sports journalism from the beginning. I grew up watching SportsCenter. I wanted to be Hannah Storm. That was the big goal. I wanted to be doing that. She was the one. So I always wanted to be in sports, like worked on my paper in college. I was just telling Jake earlier, I worked for the Wachusett Dirt Dogs for a year out in Leominster. So was involved in sports in some capacity and knew I wanted to be in journalism. And I started with The Gist in 2020. So a little bit of a rough time to be starting in sports media.
Hey, let's cover some sports. 2020. Let's roll, baby.
Exactly. I think I got hired February 2020 and then it was like, we're going to do this. And then March happened, but we made it work. And I could not have dreamed to be doing what I'm doing because women's sports, like I grew up playing women's sports and I knew I was playing and there was some women's sports visibility, but nothing like we're seeing now in this big boom. But to be covering them equally, men's and women's sports is just a dream come true.
Yeah, talk to me about that because I am just completely stuck in baseball. I think I'm almost the barometer for what transcends something. Like if it's on my radar, then it has to be a big deal. And like Caitlin Clark, and I know what team she's on. She's on the Fever, right?
That's right. You got it.
So like that must be a huge deal for me because like there's like, well, who was the football player that I fucked up his name, Jake? Metcalf. Something.
DK Metcalf?
Yeah. So I don't even know who that is. I knew his last name. So he must be somewhat of a big deal. Like if I even know what his last name is. I'm strictly baseball. But how exciting is it for you to kind of get into covering men's and women's sports during a time where it's absolutely the peak of interest in women's sports?
Yeah, great question. And everything you're saying, The Gist, you got to subscribe. It's perfect for you because we'll give you the need to know. Like Sunday's a perfect example. I know Sunday you're probably locked in on baseball and then there's all these NFL storylines. The WNBA semifinals are going on. So you subscribe, we'll give you what you need to know about the W and NFL, and then you can stick in baseball and tell us everything we need to know about baseball. So
love that.
That's what we do. We curate those top storylines for you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, since I've started, I've been at The Gist for 4.5 years now, like I said, 2020. And just seeing that rise, kind of our theory was if you invest in this coverage, like the fans are there, the storylines are there, the stars are there, they just need that coverage. And what Caitlin Clark has done for the WNBA and just giving it to people like you, and she becomes a household name. But there are all these storylines with the WNBA once you're there, and just having that coverage and putting it on TV has been amazing. And to see the interest has just been so cool to see that trajectory over these last few years.
How have you been treated as a woman in sports? Because I am friends with many prominent women in sports. I feel like I hear their stories of how they're treated. I think the farther up the scale they are, they obviously get treated better and they are respected differently versus maybe someone that is just starting out. I feel like we're now getting to a place where women in sports are like, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're treated equal. I think they are not, and which is very unfair. But I know some very talented women in sports that are like should be featured more prominently than some men that I know. Put in more effort into their jobs than some men in sports that I know. Won't name any names. But how do you feel you're being treated as a woman in sports?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think when I first started, there was a little bit of that, like, oh, even the shock value of, about sports, like you're interested, and that just being so like a surprise for folks has been something I experienced starting out. So definitely had my challenges, and I was the sports editor of the school paper, and it was like, oh, it's a woman doing that. What? That's what a concept. Which the fact that is a what a concept response is sad, and there are definitely challenges. And even when you're seeing the WNBA get that mainstream media coverage, it's like there's still sexism involved, and then there's racism and there's homophobia that come with it after you get that mainstream coverage. But one thing that I love about the gist and the community we're creating, it's my entire content team is women and non-binary folks. So we're all women producing the newsletter. And it's just a really great space to have those conversations. Like our comment section on Instagram is for the most part, like a happy place. People are supportive. We're providing that context. So the gist experience has been fantastic, but I definitely had challenges, getting to this place.
I know that this has more than likely happened in your life at some point. How satisfying is it for you when it doesn't even have to be a man, let's just say it's a man hypothetically, tries to check you, like fact checked you, and like that you're right and they're wrong. How satisfying is that for you?
Oh yeah. It's top 3 experience ever. It's just so satisfying. And I think that's I mean, my dad is he's been so supportive. He took me to softball growing up, but there's sometimes where we'll be out and people are trying to talk to him about the Red Sox, and he's like, no, talk to her. She knows what's going on, so he's an ally. We love dads, and they're so supportive. Dad. Girl dads, shout out girl dads. Yeah, it's a great experience. And when they're like, oh, you actually know your shit, you know what you're talking about.
Yes.
It's just I got it. You don't have to worry about it.
I love that. Was he your, I don't want to say your first role model, but how influential was your dad in your career?
Yeah, super influential. I was lucky growing up, grew up in Worcester, an hour drive to Fenway. They had the 10-man Sox plan. So we went to games growing up, and my mom too. They just took me around everywhere. I think playing sports was a big part of it. I played a bunch of sports growing up. They gave me the opportunity, played softball in college. So they were supportive that way. But yeah, he was always there. And I think the thing that made the difference for me was he really taught me about the history of the game, and okay, this is why these Red Sox legends matter. This is the history of my Patriots fandom, and really investing it that way. So yeah, super, super influential.
How would you power rank your favorite sports?
Favorite sports? Mm-hmm. Well, baseball's at the top. That's a no-brainer.
Okay.
We'll put the WNBA in there too. So we'll just go baseball, basketball, football, hockey's at the bottom, I would say.
Okay. As long as baseball, I was basically just asking you a roundabout way, is baseball your number one? That was
That's my number one. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Love that.
Identify as a baseball sicko. That's where I'm at.
Okay. So you're you're in the right spot 1000%. Okay. So talk to me about your favorite storylines that have taken place this postseason. I think our last episode, or at least I mentioned how outside, because obviously I don't want the Yankees to win. I want them to lose every game horribly. But outside of the Yankees advancing, I think I can get behind pretty much every single team winning the World Series. They have an interesting storyline to me. So which ones are you looking at, and which ones are your favorite?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Always have to root against the Yankees. We always root for the storyline. So if Aaron Judge does something amazing, we're going to root for that to be able to write about it. But I think the best part of this postseason has just been how much parity is on display, and that kind of anything can happen nature. It feels unique where sometimes in the division series we get these snoozers and it's a sweep, and it's just not exciting. We get blowout games. And I think to be at this point, it's the first time ever every series is tied heading into game 3. We've at this place where no team won 100 games in the regular season. It's just so fun of that. Any swing can make a difference. And to be at this place, you got random guys stepping up and being the star of the day. I think that's been the most exciting thing to me, of literally anything can happen. And that is just that October feeling on full display. It's been so fun.
See, I didn't know that. See, I didn't know that this was the first time in history that it's been 1-1 in every series going into game 3. So I'm happy to be woman-splained here today, Jake. Like I anticipated that it was going to happen. I didn't know when. That's when it just happened. I did not know. Yes.
That was satisfying. Top 3. This is the highlight of my day.
There you go. See, I didn't fucking know that, Jake. Now I can share that information.
Yeah.
And I will credit you. There are plenty of people that will pass that information off on their own. There are people that will listen to this podcast and they will go into their conversations with their friends and they will use that information and pretend like they knew it all along. And that's just not true. That's a lie.
You're welcome. That's what the gist is here for. We want the water cooler. We give you a little nugget. You sound so smart at the office. That's what we're here for.
That's what it's all about. If you were to pick one team that you have a specific rooting interest in to go all the way, who is that one team and why?
Oh, this is a tough question. Because I'm with you. Like there's guys on each team that are super fun. I think maybe it's like the Yankees angst and hatred, but I feel like I'm in on the Mets. They're just super fun. I think like the OMG of it all, Jose Iglesias and like Latin pop star who also
it's a great song.
It's a great song. The Grimace Effect. I think they're just fun and that all that off-field stuff. And that there's always like a team of destiny in these playoffs. And it feels like that could be them, like the Pete Alonso redemption of it all. I'm pretty high on the Mets right now, but I'm also high on the Phillies. So maybe I'm just high on that series. That could be it.
Same. Like I don't even think that that's like you're a bandwagon. It's like, no, like so I love Bryce Harper. Like that's my guy. I need Bryce Harper to win a championship at some point in his career. I want it to be when he's in his prime still. Like I don't want Bryce Harper's first and only World Series to be like, oh, he's 39 years old and he just happened to be there. Okay. Like I need him to still be in the prime of his career and be a reason why they won. So for that reason, I have the rooting interest in the Phils. But then with the Mets, all the points that you made, like they have, like who is it that made some dumbass take about like, oh, the Mets have too many gimmicks. It's like you can never have too many things that have positive mojo going for you. So, I mean, the series is tied 1-1, like you said. Both games have been exciting. And I don't know that, like, whoever wins, like that's who I probably hope goes all the way. I can't pick between the two. I just can't.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And we're doing our newsletter. So we publish Monday, Wednesday, Friday for our newsletter. And we were writing Sunday during that game. And I was writing, had my headline ready. And I changed the headline like 4 times because of all those lead changes and the back and forth. So that's what you're rooting for. I really just want 5 games. And then I'll be happy if this one goes all the way, honestly.
Same. Yeah. Have you had your first, or if there's been multiple, the one that stands out to you the most of a younger girl saying that, I am inspired to get into sports because of you? Have you had that moment?
There's been a few. Yeah. I played softball and I coached softball a little bit. So some of that too, of like, oh, when people hear about my job, like beyond coaching softball, they think that's so cool. But I've gotten to do a little bit of work with like people just a generation below me, kind of people that went to my college and wanting to get interested in sports. So it's happened a little bit, and just to like kind of share my story. And I think the fact that it's possible that you can do both is so unique, because a lot of times it's like, oh, you're a woman in sports, you're going to talk about women's sports. That's kind of, you're siloed in that. So to be able to have the chance to do both, and maybe they have a huge interest in hockey and that's what they want to pursue, and to show that that's possible, which is what all of us are doing at the Gist. It's a really great experience.
I love that. As far as baseball is concerned, I know that you are local like me. You are a Red Sox fan. How do you feel about this offseason? I know that I don't even want to say I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm just cautious. I'm just like, I'm bracing myself for anything. I think I'm probably leaning more towards preparing myself to be disappointed more than anything else. I think if the Red Sox are even rumored to be involved in some sort of big trade or big free agent signing, like pathetically, I think that that's an improvement based on where we were last winter. But what are you anticipating for this offseason?
Yeah, it's been a few years of preparing, like getting excited, getting your hopes up, and then you're just constantly let down. So I think cautiously optimistic, but then switching to, I've always cautiously optimistic, and you have to have that hope. That's what keeps baseball fans coming back year and year. But it's definitely cautious. There were comments recently, I know, like, oh, the payroll's gonna stay where it is or be less than it even was this year. So you kind of get too deep in the Twitter. You're like checking every thread for a potential rumor. If we get any sort of pitching, I'll be happy. I think that's an improvement. I know like there's conversation about Nick Pivetta being done. Bring him back. I like Nick Pivetta. I think just to have a consistent arm and eating up innings would be great. So if there's any sort of pitching, I'll be happy. And then I know big prospects coming in. So could be a good year next year. But yeah, I think cautious is the right word to describe heading into the offseason.
Very cautious. Very cautious. I need to protect my emotions.
Protect your peace.
Yeah, I can't be hurt anymore. It's I'm so defeated. Give me your 30-second for everyone listening pitch on why the listeners should check out The Gist, and then tell them where they can find it.
I would love to. Thank you so much. So yeah, we're The Gist. We're a 4 times weekly sports newsletter primarily, but we have Instagram, Twitter. We have a podcast too called The Gist of It. We cover women's and men's sports. So like we were saying, if you're deep in baseball and you don't know anything about the NFL, we got you covered for that. And what I love about The Gist is it's curated. So we're going to tell you what matters and why it matters. So you really have that context. And we also write with a little bit of humor, that conversational style. So it's an easy, fun read. And we're at thegistsports.com. So GIST. And then if you just search The Gist on Instagram, you can find us there too.
Lauren Tuscola, thank you so very much for making the time. I wish you the best of luck. And now someone that knows nothing about other sports, I will have to subscribe.
Yeah, check it out. Thanks so much. It was great to meet you. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime.
We go.